Sometimes, a strong desire can block your clear vision, making it hard to see beyond it. You might even recognize it as a desire, but then tell yourself, "This is just who I am. I've always been this way, so I'm being true to myself." That might seem fine at the time, but later, you may realize it's not that simple. The same goes for fear. Some people say fear is natural, and in some cases it is. For example, it makes sense to fear picking up a rattlesnake because it's dangerous. But what about fears that seem to come from nowhere, like being scared to speak in public or to drive a car because you had an accident years ago, or avoiding certain things because a scene from a movie left an impact? Those fears aren't as straightforward, but we still carry them around. You can only do your best, but the mind often tries to justify these fears. It tells you, "This is a reasonable fear," or "It's logical to feel this way." Take a parent, for example. They might worry about their child's safety in public places, so when the child, say a 12-year-old, wants to go to the bathroom alone in a restaurant, the parent insists on going with them. On the surface, this might seem reasonable because public places can be risky. But is it really necessary in this case? At some point, you need to ask yourself, where's the line between reasonable caution and excessive fear? Because if you don't, you could end up limiting the child's independence, which can have its own negative effects. This fear might feel reasonable to the parent because they're worried. But is that truly in the best interest of the child? So, you have to make an effort to step back and make decisions that benefit everyone involved, not just yourself. I once heard about parents who lost a child and, as a result, became so protective of their other children that it was overwhelming for the kids. Their extreme fear affected the kids' freedom and happiness. At that point, you have to ask yourself, yes, tragic things happen, but should I let this one event control every decision and interaction in my life? This intense fear may feel logical because of past trauma, but would you still feel this way if that tragedy hadn't happened? The key is to question yourself objectively. Try to imagine, what if that bad thing hadn't happened? What if I hadn't gone through that loss or hurt? Would I still think and act the same way? This kind of perspective lets you step back and view your feelings and choices from a distance, using your mind to see if your reactions are truly logical. Ask yourself, if this hadn't happened, would I still be letting this fear or desire guide my life? This thought process helps you start to answer big questions like, when should I act and when should I hold back? How do I know how much to push myself or how much to let go? There isn't one perfect answer to these questions. You have to be willing to look within and practice this kind of self-reflection to find a balance. Ask yourself, what would I be doing if I hadn't let this past experience shape me so much? You might find it surprising to see who you would be if you weren't so affected by past hurts.